Hi everybody, this is Cynthia Kane and welcome to our tutorial for LI801 about the basics of APA citation style and also learning how to use a free bibliographic management software program called Zotero that will help you organize your research and also just be able to access your citations and save everything in a very efficient format. So let's go ahead and get started. And we are going to go back to a review of our first tutorial. You will remember that in our first one, we were learning how to search LISTA and the Library, Literature, and Information Science database. And we were searching on the topic of public libraries and assessment. You'll also remember that I found an article from Evidence-Based Library and Information Practice, and I showed you how you can click on a Cite feature to be able to download the metadata of that bibliographic record into a citation style. In this case, we've chosen APA, the American Psychological Association format. Now, what you're going to notice here, again, though, is that this did not come over correctly because it has to do with the metadata in the bibliographic record. And basically, this was brought over exactly as it appeared in the bibliographic record in the library literature database. So as a result, even if I wind up copying and pasting this citation, I'm going to have to make some corrections, such as converting some of these words into lowercase and getting rid of some of these extraneous letters from the first name of the authors. This is something to be aware of because if you have access to a copy of the publication manual of the American Psychological Association, this is one way that you can double-check citations and also writing in APA style. That is the definitive source published by the American Psychological Association. Having said that, there are some sources online that can help you in terms of proofreading these types of citations. Now, these are not actually vetted by APA, but they are ways of finding out a little bit more information about how to do references, which is what these are called in APA style rather than a bibliography. So one source is to go to our library's webpage and click on Research Guides and type in APA. And you will be able to find here a research guide that I wrote for APA citation style. This is available at emporia.beta.libguides.com/APA. What I've done here is just giving you some different examples of citing sources or citing references in the APA style, such as having words in the title of an article in lowercase, except for the first words of the title, and then the first word after a colon and a subtitle, using the initial of the author's first name, also italicizing the source, such as a journal or a book. In this case, with a journal article, also italicizing the volume, putting the issue in parentheses, and adding the page numbers whenever that happens to be available. I've also given you some samples for books and book chapters, as well as samples for dissertations and theses, audiovisual media, such as videos or podcasts, and so forth. Again, this is not definitive, but this is one way that you can double-check some of those citations that you might find from the citation tools in the database and then do some updates. But again, always go back to the print publication manual of the American Psychological Association for any definitive answers to those particular questions. There is another site that I happen to like, and it is called the APA Formatting and Style Guide, and this is from Purdue University from the Online Writing Lab, OWL for short. The URL for this site is up here, so you might want to highlight that and bookmark that for your reference as well. Now, what you'll find here are some very basic guidelines for doing in-text citations. So when you're writing a paper and you're citing a work, whether it's a direct quotation or a summary or a paraphrase, This will show you, for example, that we do focus upon the year in parentheses because we want current information in scientific methods. So it's really important to see when something was actually published. We also have, again, some samples of doing references for periodical articles, for books, for other print sources, and also for electronic sources such as web publications. So this can give you a start on the way that you would format those references or correcting them accordingly when you're proofreading. The APA formatting site from Al at Purdue also includes something called an APA sample paper. And when you click on this, and we'll go back up to the top of this paper, you can see exactly how a sample paper in APA style is formatted. When you start writing research papers for your assignments, this is going to be really good to have on hand. You have green text boxes, which will tell you about APA style guidelines, and the blue boxes will tell you more directions for writing and citing directly in APA style. So you can see what your cover page should look like, or your title page, what your running head looks like in terms of a header, what the abstract looks like, the body of the paper, and finally, when we go down to the bottom, APA again uses the term references for the works that you have cited in your paper rather than the word bibliography or works cited. So this is actually titled references, and you can see how these are formatted in alphabetical order accordingly. Let's go back here, and again, when I click on APA Formatting and Style Guide, there is the address. So again, you can bookmark that for your future reference. Well, so far we've been able to see how to search in databases, how to find the full text of articles if that doesn't happen to be available directly in a database. And now I'm going to teach you about something called Zotero. And Zotero is actually a free bibliographic software management program. And some of you may have used in different colleges or universities different programs such as RefWorks or EndNote or EndNote Web or RefMe. All of these are very similar. They help you download citations from online sources such as databases and the web, and they help you organize those sources and then actually create bibliographies or create references lists in your preferred citation style. Zotero works in the very same way. It's totally free. The only time that you have to pay for Zotero is if you need to upgrade storage, if you're storing a lot of information. I'm going to click on Download Now. And one thing I need to caution you about Zotero is that it is basically available for Firefox, and it's also available as a standalone for Chrome, Google Chrome, or Safari when you add an extension. It is not compatible with Internet Explorer. So you're kind of limited a little bit in terms of your browser availability. I tend to use this with Firefox, but I will also tell you that I have mine also connected with Google Chrome, and I have great luck with that as well. You can also add a plug-in for Zotero to Microsoft Word, and that actually will integrate with the citations that you download in Zotero. So if you're writing a paper, you can use the integrated plug-in to help you pull in and add your in-text citations so that you have all of those correct as you go along. If you're ever interested in that, please contact me. Some of your SLIM professors may use that plug-in as well, so you might have a chat with them. I have already downloaded Zotero for the interest of time for this tutorial, but all you would have to do is just click on whatever you would want to download, and it takes just a few seconds, your browser restarts, and then you're good to go. Then, when it restarts, in Firefox, you should see a little Z up here, and then you will probably also see this icon that says Save to Zotero. Those two icons are going to be very important in just a second. If those don't appear automatically, you might have to mess a little bit with the options for your add-ons in Firefox. It all depends upon the browser version that you're using. So if you're having problems like that, again, let me know. I'm happy to help with that. So The next thing that I would advise you to do once you have downloaded Zotero onto your computer is to click on Register and register for a free account. You can use your g.emporia.edu address, or you can use any email because it's not dependent upon a particular university or institution. The reason you want to register for a free account is that when you then go into Zotero on your computer, you're actually going to sync your work with your account. What will happen then is that everything that you download in Zotero will actually live on the Zotero server. So it's always going to be accessible on the Zotero server and also on your Zotero on your computer. So if you move to another computer, or if you change or upgrade computers or laptops, all you would have to do is install or reinstall Zotero, sync it again with your account, and all your work is going to be saved because it's going to live on the Zotero server as well. It's kind of like the way Google Drive works. Basically, your work also lives in the cloud. I am going now to click on my Z for Zotero, and I'm going to go here to my library. You notice I've been doing quite a bit of work with Zotero already. I am already synced up with my username and password, but when you do this for the first time, click on this little gear for actions, and then click on preferences, and you would click on sync, and then add your username and password, and then click on OK, and your work will be synced up from that point on. Also click on search, because right here, I've already done this, but when you install Zotero for the first time, install this PDF indexing installer. You would be prompted to do that. What that will do is, if you are searching in a database and the PDF full text is linked with that citation, that PDF will be pulled into the Zotero server with that PDF indexing, which means that the PDF will be available even without having to be logged into that database. So you don't have to remember if you saved a PDF or not. It's all going to be there in Zotero for you to take a look at. And I really like that as a time saver. So we're going to get rid of this. I'm going to go over here now to this icon called New Collection. And the reason I'm doing that is that collections or folders can be organized by the names of your research projects. So we're going to do Public Libraries and Assessment. And I don't have anything in here yet, but that's going to change in just a few minutes. So let's do some searching. We'll go back to databases. And I am searching on campus right now. So when I go to Library and Information Science full text, I won't be prompted to enter that buzz-in username or password, but as you know, you will be prompted to do that when you search off campus, which is what you'll be doing. We're going to do our abstract again and do our limits to scholarly peer-reviewed journals, an academic journal. Do our search again for public libraries. And assessment. And there are my references. If I go back yet again to record number 4, the one that I've been working with before, I can now click on this icon to save to Zotero. And this is actually saving the metadata of this bibliographic record into my collection in Zotero for public libraries and assessment. And sometimes I have to click on that little window to get it out. Let's go back to our result list. And here's another one that has the PDF full text. So let's download that one too. And let's click on Z for Zotero. And this is the way that this looks now that I've downloaded these. So there was the first one that I did. Notice that the metadata over here is all linked in Zotero. And when I double click on this, the PDF will actually appear in the Zotero server. So that's why that says Zotero attachment. I'm going to close this, go back, and I'm back in my search. Let's try something else. Let's just go to Google. And if I did public libraries assessment, I could go to this page, the Community Needs Assessment for the Public Libraries of Craven County. Go back up to my icon, and I'm now saving the metadata for that web page, including the URL, so I can always get back to that as well. Let's go back to Z for Zotero. Now, something else you can do is click on this field for notes, and you can add annotations or reminders of your items as you go along. Now, this might be a good way of kind of starting your annotated bibliography, because then you could go back to these notes and you could copy and paste what you've done into your annotated bibliography, just to sort of remind you of what that article was about and why you thought that it was important for your information need for your annotated bibliography. So just something I do recommend. And in addition to this, you can download records from WorldCat for books owned by libraries worldwide for your local library catalog. You can also go to Amazon if you wanted to. And if I did a search for books, here's one called Public Libraries in the 21st Century. That looks very promising. I could check to see if my local library had this or if our Emporia campus library had it. But just so I don't forget about it, I'm going to save that to Zotero as well. We'll go back here. Well, I've been having some fun with this, but now I'm ready to do something else. I'm ready to create a references list. So I'm going to hold down the Control key on my keyboard, and I'm going to click on these four. I'm now right-clicking, and I'm going to create a bibliography from these items. I want to leave this as bibliography, and I want to save this as RTF for a rich text format, because then that should be compatible with any word processing program. Now, these are the citation styles that are included with Zotero. But if you went back to the Zotero web page, you can also find a link for additional citation styles if you didn't have one listed here. But these are the most common ones. So we want to leave this with American Psychological Association. And we're going to click on OK. I'm going to save this to my desktop, and I'm going to title this one Public Libraries and Assessment. And I'm going to close my screen, minimize this. I'm going to go back to this screen here because I want to ensure that I am sharing the correct screen with you. And I may have to do one more thing here on sharing my screen, because I want to open up now Public Libraries and Assessment. And I'm actually going to open this with Microsoft Word. I'm going to stop share again and go back to share screen, because I want to make sure that I am actually sharing this one with you. And that's going to be right here. And this is what this bibliography will look like, or this references list. Now, notice again that not everything came over the way that it should have, because it depends upon the original metadata of the bibliographic record. But it doesn't take too long for me to do some editing, and get that correct with APA style. And that's a lot easier than trying to retype something or to try to recreate citations. That is a very, very quick overview of how Zotero works. There's a lot more that is involved with it as well. But again, I just wanted to hit the highlights of this. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. And let's go back to here. And I know that we've talked about this before in our first tutorial, but I just want to make sure, again, that when you go back to the library's webpage and go to About Us and go to Library Directory, again, this is where you can see a list of our faculty and staff. And if you go down to my name, you can reach me at ckane1.emporia.edu. You can also call me at 620-341-5480 or leave me a voicemail. Or if you would like to do an online research consultation using this program, Zoom, I would love to do this with you as well. Good luck with your assignment and with your research, and I know you're going to do a great job. Thank you.